Welcome back to the Metro on 1019 WDET-FM. I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Robin Vincent. Earlier this month, Renaissance High School boys and girls basketball teams won the city PSL Championships. It's the first time in nearly 2 decades that both teams have swept the league. Both were celebrated, but one team received more accolades and attention than the other. And as you may have guessed, it was the boys' team.
Yeah, Robin. And one of those coaches, Chris Bass, decided the girls' win should draw the same excitement and congratulatory words the boys' team received. And you know what, Robin? I actually wrote that and still stumble right over it.
It's a mouthful.
It's a Monday because both had, in fact, accomplished an amazing feat. Chris is one of several coaches and supporters of women's sports who wants to see a shift in sports journalism coverage with more support in spotlight on women and girls in sports. Joining us now to chat more about the win, coaching the girls team, and pushing girls in sports to the front page is Chris Bass. Chris, thanks for joining us on the Metro.
Thank you for having me. It's much appreciated.
Of course, and just want to throw out a quick little note for our listeners out there. Chris and I went to high school together, so we've known each other for a little while now. So I just want to say to you, congrats on the win, number one.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And for those who don't know, Tia was actually a great basketball player for Henry Ford Academy as well. So
don't.
Okay, Chris. Yes, we did need to hear that.
No, we didn't. but thank you, Chris. You were great as well. Let's talk about it then. No, I'm kidding. But let's talk about the season leading up to this win. Can you talk just a little bit about what you guys had cooking in the beginning and then when you knew you had something going?
Well, it's actually my first year on staff. Head coach Deshaun Wood brought me aboard for this season, and he's put together an incredibly tough schedule. And our girls, have showed up from the start and worked hard. And, we started the season 11-0 before we took our first loss. And then won another 9 straight, which ended with the city championship complete. And we were the first team to 20 wins this season. And I believe the only the girls team in the PSL with 20 wins. So it's been a long road. We've played Heartland, we've played Grass Lake, we've played a team from Chicago. So we've had a pretty competitive schedule to try to keep our girls battle tested.
And, just sticking there for one moment, just talking about the season in general, we know that travel leagues and those type of leagues, AAU leagues, are really, really big right now. So can you talk about the importance of taking this particular girls team to play different teams across the state, not just in Detroit?
Well, it's very much important just because you never know how good your league is going to be year in and year out. And the PSL historically has been a very good league, but also everybody else around the state is catching up. So it's important that we're always using iron and sharp iron by going to find, other schools, other teams that present challenges we don't see on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. This is your first year and, just for us having a personal connection, and I see you on socials, and I see the things that you talk about often, especially in support of WNBA, women's basketball, girls in basketball as well. Seeing you in this role is really, really great. So, just continuing on, talk about how important of an impact it was for you to see someone like the late, great Kobe Bryant, a.k.a. the Black Mamba, supporting girls' sports in the way that he did before he passed away.
Oh, it was. It's been tremendous for me. He actually was a huge inspiration. I mean, I've been a fan of girls' sports, women's sports since I was a kid. My favorite college was UConn. Growing up, I was a big Diana Taurasi fan. Me and Maya Moore are the same age, so it's kind of like that. She was my favorite player. So I've always been a big fan of it, but also seeing Kobe kind of take that direction with the coaching, with the advocacy, and just kind of keeping the main thing when we talk about that it's basketball. It really shouldn't matter whether it's girls basketball or boys basketball or really sports in general. Like, women are athletes. that should be held to the same standards that we hold our men to.
And it's really important to have men in support of women in sports as well. Of course, it's one thing to have the women supporting other women, but having men supporting women as well, just it kind of adds on to and build on to this, what we're trying to do here. So let's just go to the, I guess, elephant in the room, but you decided to reach out to a media organization about the coverage of the boys versus girls win. Why was that? What did you see in that coverage that you didn't like or you wanted to see improved?
Well, so what happened is that the Detroit News came out to cover the game, and what it sounds like after talking it over with them is that there was some confusion over which game was supposed to be covered, whether it was the boys or the girls. So, and we were able to clear that up relatively quickly. But again, there just was a full breakdown of the boys' game where, they talked about different key points in the game, players, their stats, whereas it was a paragraph about our girls. And, like I said, and I don't really believe that was fair just because our girls worked very hard. Like I said, we were the only team in the PSL with 20 wins. So I do think that should be celebrated and that should be given a little bit more room to be saw versus just a paragraph. And to the credit of that outlet, they agreed to work with us to try to tell the story from a better light.
And Chris, is this difference in coverage between boys and girls sports? We know it's common, but talk a little bit about how common it is and why you decided to speak out.
Well, I just think a lot of it is what people are used to. People are used to things being a certain way. They follow tradition. And, for example, my stepmother came to the game to support us, and she was leaving after our game concluded, and the boys' game was following right afterwards. And one of the fans said, "You're leaving for the best game." And it's just the idea. And listen, and that's nothing against that particular fan, but it's just how we've been conditioned to think that the girls are just an appetizer and the boys are the main course. Yeah. And again, that's not an indictment on the boys program because they did a tremendous job this year. Coach White and his entire staff of those boys, they played an extremely battle-tested schedule as well, so they deserve everything that they're getting, and I want to be clear about that. But it's just what we've been conditioned to believe. We've been conditioned to believe that, well, it's girls' sports. It's not that big of a deal. They're not as good. They don't jump as high, so it's not as exciting. But in reality, women and girls play the game from a strong fundamental standpoint, as whereas boys get away with not having strong fundamentals due to athleticism. So, and of course, that's minutia to a casual fan. So, but what we have to do is do a better job of kind of explaining and making it aware that, that women's sports are just as valuable as men's sports. It's just as entertaining from a tactical standpoint. And the true fans of the game will find love no matter the gender.
You're listening to The Metro on WDET, Detroit Public Radio. I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Robin Vincent. We're speaking with Chris Bass. He's the assistant coach for the girls' championship basketball team at Renaissance High School. Chris, let's shift a little bit and talk about coverage in terms of women's professional basketball today. It's been getting more attention, long overdue attention. I'm wondering, has this coverage, has it helped the girls of the Renaissance basketball team to envision basketball after college, to see that there could be a career path for them? I mean, it's not a wide career path. Certainly, it's still quite a tough one to get onto, but it's been a lot harder, I think, in the past for girls to envision themselves in the shoes of these professional players. Do you think that's changing?
I most certainly do. So I have a little bit of experience with the professional landscape of women's basketball as well. And what happens is a lot of our girls have to go overseas to play, just because, before an expansion team was added that's coming this year with the Golden State Valkyries, there are only 12 teams, so 144 jobs. So, a lot of girls get cut year in and year out, and there are more than 144 professional women's basketball players. So a lot of them go to countries like Italy and over in Europe and things of that nature to further their careers. And what that does is it creates a thing where it's out of sight, out of mind. So a girl comes home and she could have been playing for a decade overseas, but because it's not right here in our face, we don't really have that image to look to. So I think with the expansion of the WNBA, our girls that are growing up get to see women who grew up in their communities that played high school, college basketball, and professional basketball. They get to see it on an American platform, and I think that does broaden their horizon and broaden their room to dream about seeing themselves in that position.
Before we let you go, Chris, what did the girls on the team think about you making a little bit of a fuss about the disparity in coverage?
Well, they probably think that it's just me being me, doing too much at times. But I mean, I know that they secretly appreciate it, and again, it's something that'll probably they'll probably resonate with them a little bit later in life, because right now they're super locked in to what our goal is. It's a group that's really kind of low maintenance in that aspect. They want the credit and attention, but at the end of the day, it's about ball.
They just want to win.
Chris Bass is an assistant coach with the girls' Renaissance High School basketball team. They're the 2025 PSL Championship winners along with the boys team. It's the first time in nearly 2 decades both teams have swept the league. Congrats, Chris, and thanks for joining us on the Metro.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks again.
From the WDET newsroom, Governor Gretchen Whitmer has warned President Donald Trump that tariffs against Canada and Mexico would hurt America's auto industry. The two spoke at a dinner at the White House on Saturday night.
Last week, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker criticized Democrats who cozied up to the White House, saying that, quote, going along to get along doesn't work.
And coming up at 11, last year, the Tigers had a miracle season, and spring training is underway right now in Florida. Will this season be one to remember? And what's your best Tigers memory? The number is 313-577-1019. Stay with us. It's the Metro.
This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation.